And great, recording in progress. We're going to talk about a dashboard that works, giving editors what they want, but focusing on what they need. Now, I can see some faces in Zoom. I can see faces in real life, and some of these faces I recognize, and some of these faces I don't. Albert and I are interested to know a little bit about you so that we know like how to frame some of this stuff. I can tell there's lots of Drupal people in the room, but this is Stanford Web Camp. Is there any WordPress people around? Yeah. Okay. We got one represented. Okay. So we'll try and genericize this a little bit. We're not looking at oh, okay. We're not looking at code today, so I think that will work out just fine. There's probably a lot of higher ed people in the room. Does anybody here identify themselves as something other than higher ed? We have a few hands. Uh-huh. And those of you in Zoom, I don't know if I can see everything at the same time. I don't know if we can see the chat, but if you give us any thoughts there too. But anyway, yeah, well, welcome to day two, and we're going to kick things off today. Hi, I'm Dave Hansen-Lang, and I work at Four Kitchens. I have been doing stuff on the web for more than 20 years, and I love it. I live in Ottawa, Canada, and yeah, that's I work for Four Kitchens, and I'm the director of technical strategy there, and trying to make sure that we build stuff that is successful and accomplishes goals. This is Albert.
I'm Albert Hughes, product owner with School of Humanities and Sciences IT Web Services team. I started learning about the internet through AOL back in the late 90s. I learned about Drupal in 06, 07. And right now I am product owner on the web team, working with Four Kitchens. I live in Houston, Texas. And what we're sharing today we're sharing what we know. This is not an endorsement. This is not, hey, we need to use a certain agency. This is just sharing what we know, hoping to give some information that you can use in the work that you do every day.
And yeah, at Four Kitchens, sharing what we know, that's one of our core values. And so, yeah, leaning into that. And we want to help you all be successful with the stuff that you're doing too. So let's first set the stage a little bit, because one of the things we want you to come away with today is we don't want you to just go back to your regular life and say, oh, we're going to implement this exact thing because that's what Stanford did. So it's got to be good. Well, the context matters, and we're all working in a different context. And so we want you to come away with like the underlying principles, and then make great decisions on your own, depending on what your context is. And so let us tell you a little bit about our context.
So today, with the School of Humanities and Sciences IT Web Services team, we have a Drupal platform, a multi-site platform to support the School of Humanities and Sciences, which some of you may know is the largest school within Stanford by enrollment, the main undergraduate school here at Stanford. We offer this platform to units, departments, programs at no cost. We have about 130 sites on the platform. And then we have editors. It could be a editor that, a site that has one or two editors, or a site that has 20 editors. So we have about 500 plus content editors across the platform. And then bi-weekly, we are pushing out new updates, new features, and things to the platform.
All right. Oh, sorry, bear with us, y'all. It's hard for us to get both our speaker notes and the slides on the screen, both in a way that we can see. But okay, Oh, I think maybe you're supposed to take this slide
Yeah,
also.
what are we trying to do with this HSDP platform that we're talking about? Again, it's we're trying to provide a solution to the departments, to our school, that's low to no cost. We want to give them a website that ensures that it meets the Stanford and HS design and brand guidelines. We want to ensure that it has proper accessibility. It has integrations with the different systems at Stanford, whether that's people, courses, events, and then overall, we want to empower the content editors. We want to give them something where they can promote their information about the department, where they can promote information about faculty, and not have to worry about developing a website or doing anything with code, but just being able to focus on crafting that content and not figuring out how to do it.
Okay, there are many different people who work on this platform, many groups of people. I see both in the audience and on Zoom, we've got people here from all these different groups here. So, but those of you who don't know how this fits, you probably got something similar in your own organization where there's different people or different groups of people responsible for different parts of the thing. We have the Humanities and Sciences web team. That is Albert and the other people that he works with. And they focus on product and project management, QA, and the overall strategy of what this platform should be.
In the product and the project management, this is people, the actual product, but then we have people on our team that help onboard the units onto the platform. And then if there's service requests, if they want to have specific customizations, we also help them with that process as well.
And next up is Stanford Web Services. So this is a group across the entire Stanford University, whereas first group is just Humanities and Sciences. Stanford Web Services, they're responsible for the infrastructure, back-end development, technical reviews. You might think of SWS as like the technical owners or underlying responsibility. And then there's me and the people that I work with at Four Kitchens, and we also do some project management, technical product management. So where Albert will identify the problems that we have on the platform, he'll come and work with us about figuring out how do we come up with the right solution for those problems. Design, visual design, and then also engineering, primarily on the front end.
Yeah, and for that platform, it's all a team effort, collaboration. We have a great developer that we work with at SWS. We have a group of great people from Four Kitchens and our team with the IT Web Services team. It's a collaborative effort, working together to meet the goals of the HSDP.
Okay, so we're talking about dashboards, just so we're not assuming anything. We are talking about when you log into the website, you can see an overview of important stuff about your website.
All right, talking about the life before the dashboard. So before we created this dashboard, we would do a thing called manual maintenance reports. And when I first started, I would hear during our syncs and our co-working, our team meetings, I would hear, oh, I'm working on the maintenance report. Then the next meeting, I'm working on the maintenance report. And I kept hearing that, and I'm like, what is this maintenance report? And so what we would do is we would have someone on the team exporting things out of Site Improve, exporting things out of the site, asking developers to run reports on a list of all of the site editors on each individual site. So we put together these reports, spreadsheets, email them out to all the 130 sites on the platform. It was taking about 100 hours per quarter. And then you'd run into things like by the time we circle back to the unit to see if they've checked the report, they hadn't looked at it yet. Maybe by the time they get into it, some things were fixed. Maybe more things were there than what was in the reporting. So and then there'd also be consistent the type of questions asked through our support requests. Hey, what kind of content is being imported into our site? Who has editing access? How do I change content on this page? So we decided, hey, maybe we can create a dashboard to bring this stuff to the front and in the face of our site editors, so they not only can get a report of what's happening, but they can actually right there from the interface take action and start making updates to their site.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of trying to get the right information right where you need it and not disjointed from the thing that the information is actually about. So that's the context that we're working in. Like I said earlier, you're in a slightly different context, at least, if not a very different context. And so think about that when you're making your decisions. So let's dive into what's on our dashboard.
Here you go. You see, this is just a glance. It's one long dashboard, but we've kind of showed you some sections. We have 10 different blocks. We started with a longer list of blocks of like, hey, here's all of the things that we want to maybe make into a block to solve some of the problems, like we said, that we were putting into the maidens report. So we narrowed it down to these 10 blocks. And what we want to do is kind of go through and show you the blocks we added to the dashboard, kind of give you some background of why and how.
And this is how it looks on smaller screens. We're not going to look at any code today, but I will give you I don't know, a few points about how the technical part comes together. This is built with the Drupal dashboard module. There is a dashboards with an S on the end. That is something different. You know, in open source, we sometimes have these fragmentation where there's some similar things solving the same kind of problem. This module, the dashboard module, is what's included in Drupal CMS. And mostly how it comes together is standard Drupal blocks. We're going to go through these one by one. Some of them are standard, some of them are custom. And for those of you who already know a little bit about dashboard module and just generally the Drupal backend, you'll probably be able to tell that there is some custom branding here and some custom interactions. We're not going to get too much into that, but if you are the kind of person who watches DrupalCon recorded sessions, some of our coworkers did a deep dive into some of the JavaScript techniques that they've used to pull together these interactions and others like it.
Awesome. Okay, we're jumping in the first block. So we used to send out across different channels when we get a new feature. So right across the room, some of my coworkers and team members are speaking on curriculum apps. That was a new feature we rolled out. When we roll out new features, we will post in our Communities of Practice Slack channel. We will send out an email monthly or when we get a chance to and inform our editors about these updates. So one of the first blocks we wanted to do is HSDP announcements. We wanted to put what we've released as well as links out to documentation right there in the front. So instead of editor finding out about an update in Slack and then needing to go to the website, then figure out, okay, I need to go to Slide or another site for documentation. We wanted to bring that right there when they log in, see what's new feature, be able to get to the documentation and start making changes and updates on their site immediately.
Yeah, and I know that some of you on Zoom and some of you in the audience also work on big web platforms. And so you'll know that like it is very tricky to try and move the whole thing forward and make the thing better while not pissing people off and breaking things and scaring people about the changes that you're making. And so this is one of many ways that we can, you know, just make people more aware of what's going on and keep people up to date. And yeah, if we manage to do that well, then we can still accomplish that goal of like keeping the thing moving forward.
And this is in our site how we implemented it. We have editors we have team members who manage documentation who aren't developers, who aren't super code friendly. So we wanted to create an easy way where they could make updates to the dashboard. So we created this Google spreadsheet, and they can make the edits right here, and then whatever's put into the spreadsheet gets sent out to all of the sites on the platform. So we can make one update in the sheet, and then all of the platform gets that update, and they have the updates to their HSDP announcements block.
And so some of you might be asking in your head, why are they using a spreadsheet for this? Why isn't this just content within the website? Remember, this is 130 plus separate websites. It all runs on one code base, but we don't really have a way to create content in one and share it out across all the rest. And so this is a simple way to accomplish that. If you just have one website, you could probably just have a special content type that only you can edit. Uh, Google Spreadsheets, if you just play around with the URL a little bit, you can get it to be output as a CSV file. And so then in our dashboard, we have a custom block that just reads that CSV file and spits it out on the page. You see there's some markdown in here for creating links and italics and stuff. But yeah, it's technically it's not all that complicated.
Cool. And as we mentioned, site
Oh,
editors.
just before
Sorry about that.
we skipped over the slide. If you want to look at the slides later, and this just lists the stuff that we're talking about over these slides, so that you've got that info later if you want to refer back.
And then my latest edits. So if you're familiar with Drupal, you know about the content page that can show you, hey, here's the latest content that's been added to the site. One thing with our editors and our sites is we do a lot of importing, like we said, people, events, courses. So a lot of times that screen can get crowded with new imports and information. So we wanted a way, and then the editors that are on our site, some editors edit every day. Some editors come in quarterly, and some editors maybe once a year when there's commencement and they want to update the commencement page. So being able to quickly give the editors a way to quickly log into the site and see like the latest page that they edited, or see like the page that they set up as a draft. We wanted to get that on the dashboard. So we created this My Latest Edits block to show the editor who's logged in their latest edits specifically.
Yeah, like I was working on that page yesterday. How do I get back to it real quick and easy? This is a really straightforward block. It's just a simple view listing the latest content edited by the current user. And yeah, it doesn't have to be technically complicated.
Then we get into kind of that place of, the session is giving editors what they want, but focusing on what they need. So this is one of those what they need blocks. So something that we're giving them information that we want them to know that can help them stay accessible. So we created this pages with the most accessibility issues we're using editorially. And this basically surfaces to editors, here are the pages that you can focus on, go take a look at, and then be able to use editorially to see what changes that they can make, and then edit those pages so that they are accessible.
Yeah, and so those first two blocks, like that's the stuff that content editors want to know about. And like Albert described, now we're making this transition into the stuff that we want them to do. We didn't put this stuff at the top. That was that was intentional. We don't want to hit them over the head with the compliance type stuff, but we do want to make it easy for them to see. Like Albert mentioned, there's a Drupal module called Editorially that tracks content-related accessibility issues. So say a content editor put the headings in the wrong order. So this isn't the technical accessibility type stuff or the design accessibility type stuff. This is content related. And yeah, the editorially module created by the people at Penn State. Shout out to them. It's such important work. Run this on every website that you've got. And there is WordPress people, there is a branch, a fork of this that is similar but different for WordPress.
It might be Princeton. Is it Princeton or Penn State?
Oh, do I have that wrong?
I think it's Princeton. But shout out to the folks at Editorially. Great stuff. And so another block that we want to give them what they need is pages with broken links. Same thing. This is actually pulling and integrated with Site Improve, a tool that we use at Stanford. We were able to use that to pull in a block to show units what pages have broken links. This was again another report that we would send out in that maintenance report. So instead of needing to run the export, put it in a spreadsheet, email it out, we've just pulled that block right here into the dashboard so they can immediately see those pages and get to fixing them.
Yeah, and this is maybe one of the more technically complex ones that we've got. This pulls in data from SiteImprove, like Albert was mentioning, and using their API. It gets a little bit tricky to figure out what site we are working with, what site ID in SiteImprove we're working with, and pulling in that data from the API in a way that doesn't take forever to load. And so this part does get a little bit more complicated. If you don't want to get so complicated with this sort of thing, there is a Drupal module that tracks things similarly. We didn't choose that one because we didn't want to add the extra load of tracking broken links to our infrastructure. And there's other good stuff in SiteImprove that we want to push people towards. So this is probably the first of several SiteImprove blocks that we're going to have in the future.
Broken links. And then what you see here is what we see as duplicate profiles, Robert.
It's just across the board. Oh, thank you for the reminder. Yes. The question was, is that just a list of content that they have edited that has broken links? No, this is across the board. Actually, there's only that one block that we saw near the top, my latest edits. That's the only one that's unique to the current person. The rest is across the whole site.
Cool. And what we have here, what you see here on the left and the right is an example of a duplicate profile. So we mentioned that we're connected to the people system. We do imports of people into the site. Sometimes you'll have units where maybe a new faculty member has started, a new staff member, and the person editing the site may not know that those people can get imported, or the person hasn't been added to the proper work group to allow them to get imported. So they'll create a manual. They'll manually create a person page, and then once everything's triggered and the import runs, now you have a duplicate page, and it was kind of hard for us to figure that out. So we created the duplicate profiles block. And so the source is local, but if one of the profiles was imported, you could see local and then source imported, so you'd know and choose which one you want. You can also look at the timestamp to say, okay, that was the first one. Obviously, the second one was the duplicate, and then you can quickly make an action to unpublish the one that is the duplicate that you want to get rid of.
Yeah, and so this one gets a little bit tricky because we're trying to match duplicates across a couple different criteria, and so you can't just do that with Drupal views. So there is some custom queries in here to make this happen, and it is kind of a complex problem about what do you do when you've got duplicate content. This is like our first version of helping content editors out with that. We just, like Albert said, offer that they unpublish one, but really to do it right, you've got to like unpublish one and redirect to the other one. And so we'll probably make this one a little bit more robust over time too.
Awesome. Anybody in here familiar with the Drupal module or the term entity queues? I don't see any, and I see some faces like, what is that? And many of our editors think the same. So it is a module in Drupal that allows a site editor or non-developer to order and create a custom order of listing of content. So if we have a list of staff members, you can use the entity queues module to sort them and say, I want these people to be in this particular order. Or one of the things we was running into with that module in the platform, you see the word entity queue. And so that really didn't click necessarily with our editors that's what that means. That's what that means. You can change the listing of people. So one of the things we did with this block is customize that and just call it reorder profiles and other listings to make it more simple and user friendly in the term. And so if a site has those entity queues set up or those listings where they have the ability to reorder them, we've brought that to the dashboard here where they can quickly click the button, reorder items. Before, if you've ever used this, you'd have to do a series of clicks and navigations to drill down to get to this particular page. But again, we wanted to bring things to the front for them to easily be able to take action.
Yeah. If we were to go back in time for, I think it's 8 years, maybe we wouldn't have used entity queues. You've probably got your own things like this. If only we could go back in time, we would have done it different. And the I don't know, initial reaction that we all have is, well, let's just rip out this thing and replace it with something better. Well, I mean, you can if that's the right choice, but do consider, like, what if we just renamed some things to make them more understandable, and that gets us most of the way there of making this concept easier to use for content editors.
Again, another report that we sent out, site edit. Who can make edits on my site? Is a question that some department leadership may ask, or when you're coming in and you just want to kind of know, like, what level of access and who has access. We created this site editors dashboard. So we have certain roles that this fits, so people who can make edits to the site. So we wanted to bring this here. That's their name, the role they have, and then the last time they access the site.
Oh, and I forgot to mention earlier, with all these screenshots, all the names have been obfuscated. So these are not real usernames on our website that you saw some people names earlier, that those aren't real either. Yeah, so we're not exposing some vulnerability to you here accidentally. Yeah, so this is just another simple Drupal view. Keep it simple, doesn't have to be complicated.
And then, as we mentioned, importers, courses, events, people. That's usually a big question. And then on the platform, you can kind of filter down to what courses do you want to import, which people do you want to import, what events. And so that was a often asked question, or especially if for new people coming to the website, or if they bring on new staff, or if someone just hasn't been looking at the site daily, that's a big question. What we're importing, and then when is the last time something got imported, to see if are we out of sync, is everything matched up. So we wanted to bring that block here to the front to show them, giving them what they want. So the questions that they asked, hey, go to the platform, go to the dashboard, and you can see what's being imported, what filters are being used for those imports, and then the last time it was imported.
I think if we click through, we'll see them one at a time. You can keep clicking through them there. So under the hood, so this is definitely our most complicated thing on the dashboard. The way stuff is imported to these sites from external university systems is with the Drupal migrate module. And those of you who are familiar with it know that, like, it is a very complex, powerful thing. And on this platform, we've even made it more complex and powerful because we have custom configuration pages for controlling it on each site. And that, like, we don't want to expose all that complexity to our content editors. And so and also the migrate interface, like, you can have a negative number of imported items because that makes sense in some complicated technical context. So we really strip it down here, give it just the most basic information that is going to be useful to our content editors. Someday we'll maybe try to add a little bit more here, like showing the number that are imported for each. But there's some tricky questions that we're going to have to sort through about those. That last one there, other importers, we don't show all the different types of content that's imported on the site. So we sometimes we have to give this note, hey, there's other stuff that's automatically running, and we're just not showing it here for you.
And then we wanted to give some resources. So questions, our site you can choose two different themes. You can have a variety of color pairing options, and then you can turn on enhancements like animation enhancements. That's usually to get that information. If you don't have a trained eye or you know kind of what the difference is between our themes and the colors, you'd have to dig through Drupal and go through the appearance themes and then get to the settings page. But this is a way to quickly surface that information. So you can go straight to the dashboard and know, okay, this site is using the colorful theme, the cardinal color pairing, and they have animation enabled. We also wanted to link to our reference sites or give kind of some quick reference to get inspiration and see examples of that theme and different color pairings. And then, of course, there was a lot always questions around, do you have a link? What's our, the university policy around privacy, accessibility, trademarks, images? So we wanted to bring that, surface them again, giving them some stuff that they want. And some of this is giving them a little bit of what they need as well.
Yeah, the one on the left, the design settings, this is all custom code just to pull out the various configuration stuff across the platform. The one on the right is just a hard-coded list of links. Because this is just a reminder, hey, content editor, y'all went through some really robust training around these things before we even let you into the website. Uh, that's something that I think this platform does really well. There's really solid training program before they get allowed into the website. And so, yeah, this is just a reminder. Hey, we already taught you about these things, and here's how you jump back to them.
What we want this dashboard to say about us is we want to make content editors successful. We want to provide them ways that they can do their work, make it easier to get to the tools and the pages that they use the most, and we want them to know we got their back. We won't let the important stuff slip past them, and we want to just empower them and give them the information that they need to do a good job at their work on a daily basis.
And coming back to you all, what do you want your dashboards to say about you? Because your organization has different priorities and different goals and different needs. And so if this is the main thing that people see when they log in, what do you want what do you want it to speak to those things?
And has our dashboard been successful? Okay, I would say it has. One of the things in talking to our associate director, when she's talking to leadership at departments or people who started, she can pull up the dashboard and use it almost like as an executive summary of what's happening with their site. Here are the people that have access. Here are the importers that are running on your site. Here's how you get to some of the reference links. So she's been able to use that as a great tool. And then site editors. Anytime I've talked to a site editor and I've asked them, have they saw the dashboard or did they use it? I always hear, man, we love it. It's been great. It's a great tool. We love seeing the information there. So that's been a lot of great feedback. There's been some places in that where some of those editors have said, oh, I didn't know. This is awesome though that you showed me. So that's a place where we want to work to make sure we're showing giving the right amount of visibility, communicating it, improving the workflow. And then even for the HNS web team, it's been a helpful resource when I've been on support and a unit's like, hey, I got this problem and I quickly want to know which theme are they on. I can go straight to the dashboard. Oh, has our importer, it looks like it's out of sync. Okay, let me go to the dashboard, see when the last time it was imported, see if there's an issue there. So great resource for internally and externally. And then again, serves as a tool for onboarding and providing a high level view of what's working. So again, I said the executive report, but that could be a new staff member that came onto the site. At least they can quickly go there and kind of get up to speed or kind of get familiar with the workings of their website.
Yeah, and one of the things that we found about the success of the dashboard is that some people actually didn't even know that it was there. Um, we have because like some people just log into the website and go straight to a particular page to edit it, and so that was news to us, and so now we're trying to change some of the login workflow a little bit so that more people are exposed to it and more people know that it's there. And we do hear from people like, oh, like I know that I'm supposed to be paying attention to the accessibility of my content, but now that I see that more clearly, this makes it so I can assuage my guilt around that.
What's not on our dashboard? And we're going to say what's not on our dashboard yet. You may have saw we didn't go through and decide to add any marketing style blocks where that could be things around Google Analytics or the statistics around what pages people are visiting. No analytics, metrics about technical performance or any of our overall site stats. Those are things that in our first iteration of the dashboard we did not include, but as we mentioned, yet. So some of these things that we're thinking about and trying to move towards.
Yeah, so some of the other higher ed institutions that I work with, like their primary thing is how do we get potential students through the application pipeline and as as real students. And the Stanford has different priorities. The main priority here is coming back to some of our initial slides. How do we empower our content editors to share with the world the great information that great stuff that is going on within the school right now? And so again, coming back to you all, what are your most important priorities and how do you get it to reflect that?
Yeah.
And I think there's still ways that we can incorporate that for our context. I'd love to get Steph on here about what are the pages on the website that people are spending the most time reading, for example. And that's going to be useful for our content editors to know, oh, hey, I created something that was successful, or I created something and people didn't spend more than 3 seconds on this page.
Yeah, and I think kind of unique because we're within the School of Humanities and Sciences, is like there's been an admissions process or like it's a lot of the focus is on this is what our department does. These are the events that were happening. We're highlighting things. But I think with the dashboard and kind of taking some of that, getting some of that information in front of them, now even I think for us and for the units, like, okay, maybe we do want to see that page that shows the most people on it. If that's something we can do and there's a dashboard for it, let's do that. So it's been an interesting process and looking forward to see what type of things we can improve and add to the dashboard. Which brings us to what's next. One of the things that we've been doing and trying to continue to do more is communicate and educate. So, again, we said some people didn't know about the dashboard. So, and then from that, it informed us, okay, maybe there's some things we can do to improve the login process or improve the workflows. We want to incorporate more editor feedback. So now that we have this dashboard 1.0 out there and we're showing it around, what kind of information, even recently, kind of the marketing block bubbled up in a conversation, which like, oh, that's something we thought about. Now I've heard from a unit that's something they'd be very interested in. And then we want to continue to refine our dashboard blocks. Dave mentioned a few as we went through them. It's like, how can we make this a little bit better now that we've had some experience and we saw how it's working? And then exploring those new blocks, like those marketing blocks or stats.
Okay, let's take a step back and look at the big picture. And so why are dashboards important right now? And here I'm thinking not just for this web platform. There's a bigger trend overall that like people are thinking more about this kind of topic right now. And so why is that? And at least for us, it's a couple different things. Oh, I didn't list them off. That's fine. I'll just talk about them. It's a couple different things. I know for us, like when it comes to like changing new components or designing new components on the front end, we're in a pretty good groove about that. We have a cycle down and we can make changes. And so now, we're not making a web platform that we're going to tear down and start again from scratch every 4 years. Like this is something for the long haul. And so we figured out those basic things. And so like now we get to step back and think about, okay, well, how do we make the whole thing more successful? And I think you all are probably in kind of similar situations too. And like can you think back past the technical success and think more about the overall success of what you're trying to do?
And then takeaways, when you think about dashboards or you're thinking about how you can implement this in your work, how can you utilize a dashboard to offload some of those support or work support work or repetitive tasks that you're doing? Can you use the dashboard to offload some of that? What are the important things that site editors or users of your platform, what are they forgetting about? What is kind of the common questions that are coming up? And then the dashboard says something about what's important to your organization. What is important to your organization and what do you want that your dashboard to say? So knowing that this is a way to communicate of how you feel about your editors and what's important. And then you can start small. We just said this was an idea. Let's think about blocks. Let's get some initial blocks there, and then we can build from there. So you don't have to, think about how I can have this extravagant dashboard experience, but maybe you can start small and start experimenting and get it going. And then don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Get something out there, reiterate, experiment, try to get better, and then keep iterating.
Yeah, I hope it came through in the examples that we looked at that some of these blocks are not perfect yet, and we're going to keep on improving. You also might have noticed, compared to those other dashboards that I showed at the top, in those other dashboards, there was lots of fancy charts and graphs and different ways to visualize things. Sometimes you don't actually need that just to show clear, useful information. Maybe we'll add some someday, but you don't have to start there.
And with that, I want to say thank you to everybody who attended our session.
Yeah.
We greatly appreciate it.
Don't go to this QR code. The last time Albert and I ran this, that was how to give feedback. I forgot to update our closing slide here. But thank you all. I don't really know how we're running for time, but do we have time for questions?
If we got a little bit, any questions from the audience? Robert. Robert has asked, what does HSDP stand for? And here we have it, Humanities and Sciences Drupal Platform.
Or is it the Humanities and Sciences digital platform?
Yeah, has a few names, but that's
And
what it is.
also, we've got some people online. I don't know, can we easily get questions from the people online? Oh, hey, there's text. So you could either write your questions to us, or I think you could just turn your microphone on, and I think we will actually hear you.
Yeah, I think we had a shout out that they're testing editorially. Steve? This is like
Yeah.
the question around what's our source for adding analytics or metrics and things for that? What sources would we use to get that
Yeah.
information?
Don't know yet. It could be Google Analytics. There's also some stuff in the Drupal community developing around like native analytics tracking that we will look into to see how robust it is. But don't have an answer for that quite yet.
Awesome. I don't see any other questions in the chat, and I do want to be mindful of time. Feel free to reach out if you see us after this session. I'm definitely open to answer any questions. Again, I appreciate you all. Looking forward to the rest of Stanford Web Camp.
Oh, and you will notice that we did not say the word AI even once.
That's true.
This might be the only session or one of few. But yeah, hope you enjoy the rest of Stanford Web Camp 2026.
That was good.